we are saying that we don't multiply by -1 because the figures we get have conclusive results, the results that we conclude from. And we have said that we don't multiply. Why? Because we have concluding results. And number 1 is that in case the answer is negative, a negative answer or negative figure indicates that the commodity in question is an inferior good. That's what it implies. And 2, a positive figure indicates that the commodity in question is a normal good. These are the conclusions. And possibly 3, which is not very common, but a 0 as a figure, the last figure. If the figure is 0, there is no change. This one indicates that the commodity is a necessity. But this one is rare. It's rare to have a calculation. But once it comes, you better know that you have calculated. The figure is negative. That means this is an inferior good. Have you calculated? The figure is positive. This means this is a normal good. If you have calculated and for any reason they have given you 0, the answer is 0, you know this is a necessity. Though the third one, I said it is a rare situation, but these 2, they give us concluding many categorized conclusion that this commodity we have calculated, it has the responsiveness. It shows that it's an inferior good. And this one you're going to see when we calculate. Possibly what we need to get clear with, what is an inferior good? And in this aspect, we looked at it when we were looking at the factors that determine demand. An inferior good is a good whose demand reduces as one's income increases. Just take any commodity you are consuming. If by increasing your income, the demand for it goes down, for that purpose, it is an inferior good. It is an inferior good. The moment you see that the response is negative, you know it is an inferior good. Whereas if it is positive, you calculate and the figure is positive, then you know it is a normal good. If you calculate and it is positive, it's a normal good. By definition, we say normal goods are goods whose demand increases when the consumer's income increases. If you have got 1 million shillings as your salary and they increase it to 1.5, identify those goods which you are going to increase their demands. Those are normal goods. So sometimes it may be difficult to give very good examples of this being a normal good and this is an inferior good. It depends on one's income, it depends on the culture, it depends on education, it depends on various factors which will make the commodity normal and inferior. So there is no almost standard example. Culture, society, status will determine which is normal and which is inferior. So there is no way you can say this commodity is internationally known as a normal good. This one is internationally known as an inferior good. It will be determined by different factors. But all in all, we say that this commodity, when we calculate, that very calculation will show us the response. And for you in a society where you know, as a policy maker, as a government which makes policy for the community, for the country, for an economy, you have to know in this area, this commodity is a normal good. And if we increase the incomes of the people, the demand for this good is going to be increased. If it increases, is it available? If it is not available, you are going to create scarcity. And scarcity will create inflation. And inflation will be disastrous to the society. So you have to analyze the policy that you are taking. You want to increase the incomes of this group. What is their normal good? What is their inferior good? If you know that these goods are inferior goods, it means the moment you increase the incomes of those people in that category, in that area, then the goods are going to be abandoned. Now, as they get abandoned, what are you planning for those people who have been producing them? Who have been depending on the income of those people? What are you going to do? What plans do you have? That's why it requires good analysis of these aspects in the price theory to know which policy you take and how it is going to affect the society where you are taking them from. Now, this is one we have known. Now we are going definitely to the figures. Yeah, economics, you cannot avoid the figures. So we are going to look at the figures. We are looking at the figures for this. And we are going to have example. Example 1. We give 2 examples. You may ask, why do you give only 2 examples? Yes, you can have many, but what we want to illustrate here are those concepts of normal good and inferior good. Like in the previous consideration, we are trying to illustrate what is a substitute, a relationship which is for substitute, and a relationship which is for complementary goods. So, example 1, we are going to have this statement. I think we can, to make work clear, we have known this is it. We are calculating for this. So, we say example 1, and we are saying when John's income went up from 80,000 shillings to 100,000. His demand for beans changed from month. Must be having a big family to take that one in a month. Say, calculate the income elasticity of demand. Calculate the income elasticity of demand. That is what we have as the example number 1. So we are going to see how the key areas that we consider here. 80 moving to 100, 50 moving to this. So we want to find out what is the income elasticity of demand when the income has increased and we are seeing a drop in the price and mean the demand of the commodity. So we say, what is this nature of commodity? So let's look at the figures which we are supposed to calculate. Just to be systematic, we are going to explain this. Income elasticity of demand is equal to change from this over change in income. Over change in income times income over output or quantity. This will equal to 45 minus 50 over 100,000 minus 80,000 times 80,000 over 50. This is going to equal to negative 5 over 20,000 times 80 over 50, which is going to give you negative 2 over 5. And this is going to give you negative 4. Sorry, negative 0.4. This is going to give you negative 0.4. And we conclude and say, beans are, in this situation, beans are inferior goods. That's what we conclude, that beans are inferior goods. So here, the major items, the major aspects that we look at, this word and this figure here. It has given us a negative figure. And because it has given us a negative figure, we say it is an inferior good. So this is the calculation that we have seen. The calculation is showing this is the formula, and whenever you are calculating anything in economics, begin with the formula. When we are awarding marks in these calculations, the first mark you score is the formula. You may even fail to make a good substitution, but the tick will be there for the formula if it is a corrective formula. So this formula we tick, substitution we tick, calculation and the answer. So if this question has 2 marks, assuming it has 2 marks, there is 1 marker here, there is 1 mark for substitution, 1 mark for the last calculation and the answer. Each one will have half, and then you get the 2 marks for this. Then they say, yes, what is the nature of this commodity, beans? The nature of this commodity is that it is an inferior good. Why are you concluding this? They will not ask you why, because they know you are getting it from this concluding figure which you have calculated. So the figure is negative, these are inferior goods. That's what you are going to know that if the area is consuming beans, they are consuming beans because their incomes are still at that level. Find out if you increased these people's incomes from 80 to 100, and then the consumption of beans reduces from 50 to 45. That means if this one is a family and there are 100 families, you're going to have 5 kilograms reduced from 100 families. And that means you're going to have 500 kilograms not sold. People selling beans are going to lose that income. And with the time, they may even totally abandon the production of beans because this is an inferior good. As people's incomes increase, people start abandoning that commodity. And it's very common. You find in an area, they used to buy so many of these commodities. But as the standard of living went up and people's incomes increased, they started dropping the consumption of certain commodities, meaning that they were creating unemployment to those who have been dealing in those commodities. Or else they are telling them, leave our area and go to areas where the income is still low. So, government officers, not officers, but officials who are concerned with the planning, economic planning, when they are making their policies, they have to look at these elasticities. Whatever policy they are going to take, how will it affect? Sometimes it may be very difficult to know how it will affect without these figures. But if statistics has been carried out and you come up with such, then you know this is the concluding aspect and this is the policy we are going to take for this area. And that's why when you are in planning, you need to know which area are you planning for. I'm planning for the area of Karamoja, planning for the area of Umbarara, planning for the area of the Central Region, I'm planning for the area of Eastern Region. What is the nature of their incomes? And with that income, what is their consumer behavior? If we raise their incomes, what is going to happen? Don't just raise incomes. You have to know the outcome of that income you have raised. So we are going to example 2, which is going also to give us another illustration. Example 2, and it says, an increase in Jane's income from shillings 70,000 to shillings 85,000 resulted into a change in her demand for eggs from 200 eggs to 275 eggs per month. Calculate income elasticity of demand. That's what happened to Jane. Jane's income changed. Her original income as we normally indicate. Her original income was 70,000. By good chance, they increased her income to 80. After increasing this income, it resulted into a change in her demand for eggs, from the 200 eggs to 270 eggs per month. So here she was taking about 3 trays of eggs. Is it 3? Yes, 3.5, around that. Then she increased the eggs to almost how many trays? They're almost coming to 9. I think there are 9 trays. Hey, that is a very big increase. From these eggs, 200, and added other 2 trays which he was taking. Not 9, but that is, no, this is 6.5. Then we went to 9, almost 9 plus 9 and 5 eggs. So that means she increased the consumption of eggs. She may not be alone. We are looking at Jenny's income from this to this, resulting into an individual may not consume this. She might be having a family, and a big family, which consumes most of these eggs. But you see that at home, they were also very eager to have more eggs at home. Now, this is the calculation. Now we are saying, let us calculate the income elasticity of demand. And as usual, we begin with the formula. So we say income elasticity of demand is equal to change in quantity over change in income times income over output, or quantity which you are demanding. And we are now substituting these figures. We substitute it as 275 minus 200 over, this is the number of eggs, and we are looking at the income. The change was 85,000 minus 70,000. That was the change. We have to multiply it by the 75,000 over the 75,000 over the 200, going by this formula of ours. And this one, we multiply it by that, and after that, what do we have? We have 75 over 1,500, that is 15,000, not 500, not 15. Then 70 over 200. What is this one going to give you? When you calculate using your calculator, you are going to get 1.7. 1.7. I normally use another color here. 1.7 as the elasticity that has been calculated. And this time, it is not like in our previous one. This time it is positive. The figure is positive. So what we have here, we have calculated the income elasticity of demand. This is the formula, substitution, and the substitution takes us to this final calculation. We get our answer. As I said earlier, take 1, you get a mark for the formula. Substitution, you get a mark. This calculation, you get a mark. And you also get for the final answer. What is the conclusion? Given this and given what we wrote, we say that in this case, eggs are normal goods. Eggs are normal goods. Why? Because the figure is positive. So these are normal goods. So normal goods means that As one's income increases, the demand for such commodity or commodities is going to increase. That's what it means. How do you know that it is normal? When you calculate and the figure is a positive figure, definitely you are going to conclude that this is a normal good. With the previous example 1, we realized that it was an inferior good. Why? The figure was negative. Something that we are not going to calculate is a necessity. What are necessities? Necessities are commodities you cannot do without. Their demand does not usually depend on the level of the income. And we talked about it when you're looking at the factors determining demand. And the necessities that we normally have, we have, for example, salt. Salt is a necessity. You are not going to take more salt because your income has increased. You are not going to use extra soap because your income has increased. Even if your income increases and it triples, if at home you have been buying 1 kilogram of salt and it has been enough for your sauce, even if your income has moved from 1 million to 10 million, you will not increase the consumption of salt. The amount of soap you are using to wash your shirt or to wash your shirts or your clothes will not increase because income has increased. Possibly what may happen is only spoiling, wasting the soap. You put it in water, you use it anyhow, you leave it outside because the income increased, you don't mind. But what you are actually supposed to use, you will not increase it because the income has increased. So these ones, the responsiveness is 0. That when your income increases from 1 million to 10 million, the amount of salt you are going to consume in your sauce will be the same. Okay, sugar you also increase, but it will reach a point when you may not add beyond a certain level. But these ones are necessities. There is no way you can increase consumption to show people that your income has increased. And because of that, we say the responsiveness here is 0. Even if you don't calculate, you have at least known that the income elasticity of demand for salt and soap, which are necessities, is 0. It does not respond to the demand, to the changes in income. So this is the example of the income elasticity of demand, which takes us to a normal good. The previous one took us to an inferior good. And I'm sure at this moment you have actually mastered, you have now known very well what these elasticities stand for. When we move to another topic, which is called the population and labor, we are going to come across what we call the wage elasticity of demand. Wage elasticity of demand, we have not covered it here, but we shall cover it when we are looking at that topic of population and labor. We shall mention it and we shall see how we calculate it. Yes, some teachers calculate it at this level, but it will be more relevant and more conveniently understood when we are under the population and labor topic. So this is the income elasticity of demand. We have looked at the cross price elasticity of demand. We have looked at the price elasticity of demand. Therefore, I think for now we can say enough is enough for for price elasticity or elasticity. We started by saying elasticity, and these are just examples of elasticities. So we are still under price theory, and we are going to start another area of price theory. We have now finished with the elasticities. So we wait for the next subtopic, which we are going to have for, but still